1,440 miles south by east of New York City lie the islands of St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John, known as the Virgin Islands. With an area of 133 square miles, a population of 22,000, they constitute one of the little-known territorial possessions of the United States. Our first glance of St. Croix, the largest of this group, is on one of the many beaches where swaying palms denote the ever-present trades, winds which temper the rays of a tropical sun and maintain a temperature between 70 and 90 degrees throughout the year. Christiansted, the capital, and Frederiksted are the Danish names still retained by the two towns on St. Croix. Here is Christiansted, where time has made little change in the tempo of life, and many picturesque people and interesting conveyances glide through its many streets. The widespread movement to develop recreation areas in the United States and her possessions with Civilian Conservation Corps labor has reached these distant shores. In one of the old deserted sugar factories, many of which stand as silent reminders of the glorious past of St. Croix, the National Park Service has established a Conservation Corps camp for 100 native enrollees who are doing a big job under the leadership of trained supervisors. The boys start out to their daily task with a quickened step in keeping with the important task before them. Divided into small groups, each having a leader selected from the enrollment on a merit system, they are transported to all parts of the islands, where a diversity of projects, such as tree planting, soil erosion control, landscaping, and playground construction, are well underway. The French, during their occupation of St. Croix, feeling that the dense forests were detrimental to the health of the colonists, burned off most of the virgin timber. And these boys, early in 1936, had planted 15,000 trees, including mahogany, flamboyant, tamarind, coconut, and others. At headquarters, a nursery was laid out. From this central point, thousands of young plants will be taken to beautify the highways and byways. At the agricultural station near Christiansted, these same boys have planted and cared for 6,000 mahogany trees, which a future generation will view on the slopes of surrounding hills and appreciate as priceless trees, not as high-priced furniture. Palm trees lend their grace to many of the country roads, and because of their height, many are destroyed when the occasional hurricane visits the islands. A definite replanting program is underway, and fast-growing young palms are taking their place in line to reach maturity during the lifetime of these men who set them out. Paralleling the work of planting is the effort to preserve that which is grown. Fire lanes are cut through the dense growth, and the clearing is made wide enough to prevent occasional fires in adjacent cane fields from running across the ground. Just outside the town of Frederiksted, on the westerly end of the islands, 15 acres of swampland are being filled in to make a community playground. This area has always been a breeding place for mosquitoes, which menace the people of the nearby town with the diseases they carry. The sound of the buzzing of these insect pests will be replaced by the shouts of baseball or cricket teams. They'll be true sandlot players, for the adjacent beach has generously supplied the sand for filling. "40 miles across the blue waters of the Caribbean lies the island of St. Thomas, second largest of the group, inhabited by 10,000 people. Here, as on St. Croix, fires and the manufacture of charcoal for household use have cleared the timber off the hills, from the heights of which one has an unobstructed view of the town and harbor below. Reforestation again becomes a civilian Conservation Corps problem, and a camp for 100 men and boys has been established in the hills close to Lindbergh Bay, so named because the famous flying colonel once landed there. 10,000 trees, including mahogany, yellow cassia, and tibbet, have been planted on St. Thomas, and over at the nursery they smile proudly as they point to 250,000 young plants ready for transplanting. Water is the serious problem at the nursery, where there are no roofs and tanks to catch and store the falling rain, so a reservoir is being built high in the hills behind the camp to ensure the necessary supply. In town, a playground is under construction where baseball players may knock their home runs in the direction of Blackbeard Castle, built on a hill in the background. Broad fire lanes are being cut across the hills to check fires, which are destructive here because of high winds and scarcity of water. On narrow mountain roads, you meet the native worker with his conveyance, which requires nothing more than a sure foothold. Jogging along on the back of one of these useful little animals is not the most comfortable way to see the beauty of the islands, so roads are being widened and graded to permit motor cars to reach the proposed areas overlooking Crum Bay, where one may view the shoreline and the small islands, which add so much to the attractiveness of St. Thomas. For those who prefer the physical exercise of hiking or the solitude of the dense jungle, trails are being constructed far up into the hills, where we may pause in the cool of the prevailing wind and look down upon the entrancing waters of the Caribbean and the lovely form of Lindbergh Bay.